Welcome to another episode of The Stream Room, the podcast about content creation by content creators for content creators. And this week, boy, have we got a doozy for you. This is the only growth meta that matters and will never die, collaboration. I am one of your hosts, Reapz.
Hello, I am Eljayem.
And I'm Nictacular. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, boys, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. How do you guys feel about the very first day we've released all our podcasts? Everyone has now seen it. We're getting feedback. One person says, I'm a fluffy bunny. Another person said that our podcasts are too long. And just generally, are you excited?
I am.
It's good. It's good that the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, that's
You can
exactly
finally
it.
tell everyone about it.
It's always been this
Worked on
thing.
this for like 2.5 months, right?
People were like, why are you so tired around these days? And I'm just like, don't worry, there's something happening in the background. I can't tell you about it now, but now that it's all out there, I'm like, now you hopefully know why it's been, a busy time for us all. So yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully this grows and grows and grows. And to those people who are listening, watching, subscribed, thank you so much already for being one of the OGs.
Yeah, 100%. And hey, speaking about that, we should jump in and get into how we always start it, which is my favorite start of the segment, is obviously we're going to talk about what we did this week, if we failed, if we successes, achievements, all that stuff, right before getting into collaborations, which is crucial. But we want to make sure we throw it out there nice and early. If you are watching this and you have any questions for us, you want us to cover a topic, leave them down below. We reply to every comment and we'll pick some out to cover on the podcast in depth. And consider liking and subscribing if you like the podcast, because it really helps us out, especially on a brand new channel.
Yes.
But let's get into the hot seat and let's kick straight into it. Nick, how has your week been as a streamer, as a content creator? Have you had any successes? Have you had any fails? Have you done any collaborations? What have you been up to?
Yeah, been a solid week so far. Played still on the Mass Effect grind and absolutely loving it. But I had my massive birthday stream on Friday, which was a huge success. And I played lots of Legends Arceus, or Arceus, if I want to trigger LJ a little bit. And no, it was a great week. Honestly, it was very, very solid. I think it was actually nice to start stream at 1 p.m., which is a time that I'm never live at during the day, and catch so many more people that normally don't get to see me live, and a lot of people sort of rating into me that would otherwise never really be able to rate into me. So it was actually a really nice time, and be able to sort of catch people a lot more often. And so many more people were just sticking around, and it was just a really awesome day. And it almost put a thought in my head of maybe every now and then I should mix it up and just do like a special day, do like a day stream or something, just to completely mix it up and see how it goes. So it's sown some seeds for sure. But what about you? What's been happening?
We've talked about time slots a lot, and I think time slots are something we fall into like heavy routines with, because as a content creator, you want to make sure you're there when your audience knows you're there and when your audience is there, because a lot of people watch podcasts or streams or videos at the same time every single day, and they usually just go to the same creators' platforms because that's just in their routine and habit. And I think because of that, we do fall into these ideas of this time slot works, this is how I do things. But it's okay to be loosey-goosey a bit once you've got an audience. You're not going to do it every day. But I think having that balance and that ability to experiment with not just time slots, but anything, I think it's really important to growth. So I'm really glad to hear that it went well for you and that you've got other stuff planning. We know that I've been doing that stuff for a while with my time slot stuff, and I'm seeing a lot of success. So honestly, this is probably my big fail and big success this week, is the fact that I yesterday woke up, I had a coffee, had some toast, got dressed, went live for 3 hours. I just chatted for a bit, talked about some stream advice, because that's what my Monday streams tend to focus on. It was really good. I got an easy, I think 168, 169, nice average viewers. In those 3 hours, I got like 400 unique chatters, a couple thousand chat messages, really good stream, honestly, when it comes to engagement and chatting. And I just had fun with it because I just relaxed for most of it and just talked about stream advice that I'm interested in. I end stream. I worked until like 4:30, 5 o'clock, spent some time with my wife, which was great. And then around 6 o'clock, I went for this really nice long hour-and-a-half walk. I listened to our own podcast because, what other else is out there?
Get that metric up.
Yeah, I listened to that, and it was a good walk, really nice. Came home, had a shower, and then I just kind of slowly uploaded the new SSN video, the new stream scheme video, which is the, should you pick YouTube or Twitch video. And I was sat there the entire time thinking, man, this has been such a nice day. I did a stream. I did a bunch of work that I had to catch up on. You know, I spent time with my family. I got to go for a healthy walk rather than feeling like, you know, I couldn't. And then I had my night to do whatever I wanted. I could work through things, get stuff ready and whatever, or I just hang out if I wanted to. And I was like, I want this to be my routine. I want to do this tomorrow. And then I was like, no, I stream at 7:15 p.m. every night. I can't do this really, really healthy schedule that I've just had for today. And like, I was like, okay, how could I fit it instead? I'm like, okay, well, I'm in Queensland. It's right now summer. It's 32-degree heat, pretty much average every day from 6 a.m. until 5 p.m. And then at 5 p.m. it goes down. And I realized my big failure is that I've been so stuck on this time slot, and I probably still am for a while. It just doesn't fit with my life. It doesn't fit with my health. It doesn't fit with how I upload videos. It doesn't fit with anything because it just means my whole day is spent building up to the stream. And then the stream takes my entire night and I'm too tired after stream to do anything. And then I wake up and I have to do the whole thing again. And it's like, it's so interesting. I never realized how much this one choice I made early on was going to impact me later when I wanted to scale my viewers and scale my content. So that's been my big fail this week, I think. But also, you know, silver lining, a big positive that my Mondays do so well.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's me. Reapz, if you want to go into yours, or I don't mind. I'm
Yeah,
whatever.
sure. No, I hear you. When it comes to time changes and everything, but I was kind of the same. When I started off, I just, you know, streamed anytime that I could because it's a hobby for you when you get going. But when it starts to become something a bit more, aka a career or a financial avenue that's outside of your normal working hours, that's when you try and do it a bit smarter. You know that routine sets everybody off because they know when to catch you and they know where to find you. But if you change it up every day, it's very hard to do so. So when I went over to full-time content creation, which was back in March 2020, because the pandemic, I was like, I'm staying home. What else am I going to do? It was really nice to have this routine. 4 days a week. I'm going to be streaming throughout the days, which is nighttime in America, as we all know. And it's great because there's more people. Because there's more people, there's obviously more competition, but there's still more avenues that you can pick. You know, people want to come to see your thing. So there's, you know, silver linings to everything and there's peaks and troughs and everything in between. But in regards to my week, it was fine. Like I'm really prepping up for February. I felt January's just been a start for me. It's like I just had to do things behind the scenes. But with the inspiration from obviously Nick and LJ, I'm doing like a weekly YouTube spectacle thing where it's like, okay, guys, I'm about to film a YouTube video. And I have this big intro going on now. And then I do for about an hour. I'm trying to, this is my tip at the moment that I'm trying to figure out is I'm trying to do content for YouTube that can also be easily cut down into TikToks. So the other week I did the hardest questions, 10 hardest questions, easy cut down to TikToks. Try different American candy, easily cut down to TikToks, you know, one by one. And then I did the impossible quiz, which is, you know, separate questions. Everyone's got that nostalgia feel for it. You can put up the question on the screen and people hopefully will want to see what the answer is because it's so fucking random that why would you not want to know what the answer is to this thing? So easily cut down to TikToks. So that's kind of my reasoning at the moment. And it's been good in that regard. I'm also planning a big thing for February in terms of I'm trying to do a theme every month that can get people in. So my one currently is Valentine's, but I'm calling it because my control panel specialist is called Francois. I'm calling it Fralentine's Day. And I've done all these like different goals and things like that, you know, stupid shit. But hopefully it gets people engaged more because at the moment, January's just been really hard for me. I had the laryngitis at the beginning and then you come back and then it's like, oh, what do I do now? I didn't have the energy and now I have the energy. Hopefully things will look on the up and up. So that's been my week.
No, I think it's fair, man. I think that one of the things we learn as the longer we do content creation is the fact that having a slow month or having things go wrong or feeling like you're building up to one particular thing or all those sorts of stuff, it really is normal. Like I feel like, you know, I'll have like a big idea in my head that isn't until March and then I'll be like all of February feels really slow and a build up. But I think earlier on I would have been upset or annoyed by that. Yep. But I think that as I've done this longer, you get quite real. You do realize that, you know, these things are a balancing act. You're not always going to be popping off consistently. Instead, you know, sometimes you are just going to hang out, get into gear and have things working on in the background, which we talked about a decent amount. I think one of the things that I really struggle with is the fact that I want to do crap loads of collabs. As we've talked about, they're incredibly powerful. But it's so hard to organize them so consistently. Like this is one of the things, and I just feel like people underestimate the power of cross-pollination and the power of a collaboration. Because not only if you do a collab right, does it create really easy content, right? Like I called the Twitch meta of collabs back like months ago, and I wasn't confident in myself at this stage. I called it like back before the Among Us stuff. And I used to tell people like on stream, look at every single big YouTuber. They've grown not by themselves. They've usually grown in like small little groups of like 2 or 3 people that they collab with, right? Like, or they know, or they do these little videos with. That's why MCMs and big networks, with all their failings, also one of the reasons why they blew up so much was because all these different content creators would appeal to a certain demographic and then come together and share that demographic. And on YouTube, that was incredibly powerful because you could watch all those videos and no one would miss out. Twitch, it's a little bit less powerful, but it has a stronger concept in the sense that you just make such easier content, and also it plays into that parasocial idea of just hanging out with friends. And so I've always believed that was the true meta of Twitch, was to be doing collaborations with content creators who have similar audiences. And then Among Us dropped and Rust dropped and all these things, GTR RP and all these things kind of dropped. And I think right now Project Zomboid multiplayer is kind of like the middle pack, but it's a bit hard for a lot of the big streamers. So they're playing League as collabs. Mm-hmm. And I think it's just super interesting to watch that kind of evolve. And I really think that collabs are something that every creator should be doing. Right. And there's all sorts of reasons, not just because it's good for your mental to have other creators going through the same growth strategies and growth pains so you can talk about it. But also, for things I've mentioned, such as it makes better content. It's easier to make content for 3-4 hours at a time if you're talking to people in a call that are also streaming and also discoverable.
Yeah.
But it's just so hard to find people. And I want to know from you guys, how do you find content creators with similar audiences to collaborate with, and how do you go about reaching out to them?
That's a really good question. It's something I've always struggled with, and it's something that I know that is such a necessity. It's very simple, as you talked about, cross-pollination, and it's also not just about audiences as well, but opportunities with those creators, because they can remember you for things. And if they go onto something, they're like, oh, this guy may be good for it, which has happened to me, in the past. And I love going into other people's streams. Now, usually I go into the streams that are like of Australians, because obviously I'm near them. I've met them. I know them. It's always nice to help out, people from Australia, because we can say that it's dominated by, I would say, American streamers dominate Twitch at the moment. I'm not saying that, if you're Spanish speaking or anything, there's other streamers out there for you. But for our demographic, I would say mainly Americans. But it really is hard to kind of put it out there. I remember you asked me a question back in the day, LJ, about how you do collaborate with streamers for one of your videos. And it was really interesting to think about, because it's like, what can you give somebody else, which isn't your audience, that would make them want to collaborate with you? So I do this thing. I thought, why not do like a game show called Pog Jumps? I've talked about this before, and it's a nice way that you can go in a setting, you can goof around, you can talk about trivia, and obviously a lot of people get to see it and get to have this fun interaction thing. It's all about you, not so much the gameplay in the background. I thought that may be a fun thing to do. By God, is it hard to structure and get everybody on the same time zones and everything like that. But if you do it right, it is a lot of fun. And so the people that I've reached out to, before I finish off, is the people that I know, like, I'm Fall from Grays, Fit for Purpose, that you guys, obviously. It's one of those things that it's just like, I want to be with people that I'll feel comfortable with. Don't get me wrong. I've been thrown into Among Us games with big old American YouTubers and stuff, and I felt very little, because if I talked, I could imagine that they'll be like, we want to hear from this big time creator, not you dipshit, get the fuck out of here, that type of thing. So I've been very like, I don't know when to talk. It's this weird thing. But Nick, what do you think? I don't know.
Honestly, I kind of get what you're saying, and not from a personal experience, but from a friend of mine who got brought into an Among Us game with T-Pain. Yeah. So
what?
Listen, it was a whole thing where apparently, so CBC knows T-Pain, and they're an Among Us game, and then my friend Jamie Puppy Eric got brought into that game as well. So he was playing Among Us with T-Pain, and he's very unsure of himself at the time. It was crazy. No, it's very in the similar situation, Reapz, where it's like it's mainly been with people that I've known, and I've never I haven't had a good idea for a collab and reached out to someone, unless like that I haven't known super well, to be like, hey, let's do something. But that's something that I'm actually working on, and I've already started on as well, with someone who are like I know well, but we don't get to interact much because we're similar, streaming at similar times. But we know each other and we like each other's content, so that's something that I'm actually working on. But yeah, majority of my collabs have been like the Among Us nights, where there was a group of like oceanic creators, like all of us kind of like around the like similar sizes, and we all got it was a group of people that were sort of headlining it and bringing everyone in, and they kind of did this as this weekly thing. And off the bat, I was like, I can't do this every week. It's too much to do every week, because you've got like, around 10 people, if not a few more people, all in in voice chat, and it gets hectic. It's great though, because I did meet some people through that. Like there's people that you obviously know some people, there's people you don't know, and you can sort of, it's beneficial that way. But you've definitely got to pick the right people for these kinds of things. And that is crucial, especially when you're doing a large group thing. When it's just like one other person or another two people, it's a lot easier. People have room to talk, room to sort of bring themselves into the content. But when you have so many people, it's hard to feel like you're not fighting someone else. And then you're worried about your own audience, where you're trying to deliver them good content, which is a lot of the time involves you having to mute because you want to talk and not talk over someone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old Soda Poppin' clip, isn't it? Like Soda Poppin' during the Rust era did a clip. Or there's a clip of him where he's muted himself and he's in the middle of like a coliseum, and there's dozens of other streamers, and there are so many of them just trying to get the attention because it's a big moment for them. They've got a chance to appear in front of 30 people's streams right now, and they're all fighting for attention. And Soda just leans back in his chair, mutes himself, and goes, do you think a single one of these people has ever realized how little they matter or something? Like he's like no one needs, they don't need to talk. He's like, you can shut the fuck up at some point. Like that was like his wording or something like that, which is so true. It's like, but as a streamer, you go into this because you are a little bit narcissistic in a way. And I think you need that. I'm not saying it's an insult. Mm-hmm. I think as a streamer, you need a little bit of narcissism to honestly believe that confidence is that what you say is worth listening to. Mm-hmm. Okay. And if you don't have that, then no one else will believe that what you say is worth listening to, right? Yes. Like that's like the crucial part of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's such an interesting thing. You mentioned the two bigger groups and they're fighting over it. And I think that's one of the reasons why you kind of need to collaborate with people who have experience with like those larger collaborations, and who have done those things before. Because the moment you kind of go into stuff where someone isn't used to it, or you add one person who throws off the rhythm, and it can make really bad content when it could normally make good content that usually doesn't backfire on everyone. It just backfires on the one person, right? And it's like, if that one person isn't quite used to it or isn't quite ready, they suddenly get like a bunch of people being like, can you shut the fuck up in their chat and stuff, which is awful, right? And you do see it all the time in these big chats when a new guy comes in. I think the thing is though, is the pitching yourself and the value, right? Because you said, how do you reach out to someone? Or I said, how do you reach out to someone? You guys both gave examples. I have done a lot of cold outreach, and I always try to pitch my value, right? I always try and pitch exactly what I'm offering them before I ask for anything. And it's super interesting how little people reply. I will never do cold outreach in the sense that I'll reach out to someone I don't know. I always make sure I know their content. I know what they produce. I know what they're about. And my outreach is always, hey, my name is LJ. Here's what I do. Here's what my values are. They align with your content. I've watched a lot of it. I think we'd make really good content together. And here is my value proposition. I have this big YouTube channel. I have this stuff here. And I'd be willing to, if you wanted to, I do a quick 45-minute interview for the YouTube channel and share it. And then you get a bunch of exposure or all that stuff like that. Or it's like, hey, I want to play some Raft, or I want to do this, and here's my stuff and here's my value. And it's super interesting just how few people will ever actually even reply. Right? Like just complete blanking. I think like, it's like, and I'm not reaching out to huge people, by the way, I want to clarify. I never reach out to someone who's more than like 200 viewers bigger than me, right? Like on average, because I feel like I want to find someone I'm on equal footing with, and also that I can provide value to.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just so interesting. It's like, we have a chance to chat, make friends and do these things. And even if you don't want to do a collaboration with me, for me, if someone reaches out, I'll always reply. Even if I'm not going to do a collab, someone reaches out to me, I will always reply to them if they're if they're my same size and they're offering value and stuff. Because I think that rising ships and having conversations with other creators is super valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even just having this podcast, even if no one ever watched it, I would still do this podcast every week, because the ability to share thoughts with you guys, talk about problems we're having, talk about ways we're growing, all that stuff like that, I think is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
You know, and I just don't understand like what value or what pitch would get these people to reply. And I don't know what do you guys pitch? What is the value you say to them when you go to collab?
Really, really good one there. I remember when I send off these things to people, it's usually the quiz. So I also find that if I can get somebody, let's just say I get LJ, I'm like, LJ, can you do this? And you're like, yeah, I could do it. And I'm like, sweet, awesome. Because then it gives me, this may seem bad, but it gives me some leverage as well to the next person I pitch it to. It's like, well, I've got LJ on board and it's got me. So this is another person you can collab with. So it's a nice thing once you get like a groundwork, because it also really depends on the game as well. If we think about Among Us in its literal sense, you're going into a room full of strangers and accusing them of being a liar. It's a very hostile environment, you know? Like, it's not something you're going to be best friends after. It's so exhausting. I hated Among Us because I was so stressed the whole time. I hated being imposter. I hated having to lie to these people that I just met, but I understand it's for entertainment. I get that. But I think when you go into this thing, you just have to go, okay, here's what I can offer you. Like you said, LJ, here's my idea. I believe it gets along with you. I would love to collaborate with you. And if they don't reply, then understandable, no worries, big whoop. Okay, I'll move on to something else. But those people that do reply, even if they say no, you hold in such higher account for me, because it's like, okay, they've taken time out of their day. They've summed up their things. They're not being mean. It's just from a business perspective or, you know, their own growth perspective. They're like, this isn't for me. But it's the people that like completely ignore you. And now sometimes, don't get me wrong, it may just be because they don't see the message. You know, if you emailed them and it's in their spam folder, I get that. But the people that you know that you have a direct link with on Discord per se, that's when you're a bit like, If it goes over 48 hours and there's no response, that's when I'm a bit like, But Nick, what do you think?
Yeah. I would say the same. Like, sure, like, you know, sure, people get busy. Then maybe they're obviously receiving a lot of messages. But I think you would give it a few days. For me personally, I would give it a few days at most. And it's like, if it goes 3-4 days and you still hear nothing, sometimes like I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world after a few days to just kind of send a follow-up message being like, hey, just in case you missed this message or whatever. But I
don't. Fuck that.
Nah, don't worry about it.
This sounds bad, but if I'm like with my YouTube videos, I'm wrangling like 8 different content creators at once to try to get them all to come on and do a part. Like, all they have to do is answer one question, hit end record, answer a second, and that's it, right? That's how I usually do that, right? Yeah. And for example, I reached out to 4 or 5 creators. One of them was Eljayem, one of them was Reapz, and I'm not going to name the others. Reapz, Eljayem got back to me on the day. They had recordings to me within 2 weeks of having the questions passed on to them, okay? The rest of them either never replied, despite telling me previously they would be interested in doing videos. And the questions aren't hard. I think the questions I actually asked people were, let me find it. The questions I actually asked this particular time. Oh my God, Reapz, we talk too much. I'm not gonna be able to find it.
This is why we do the podcast.
I said, how do you deal with trolls in your chat? And then I gave a few examples. I said how to come up with content ideas and a few examples, and how to increase chat activity and a few ideas. Okay. Either they didn't reply, or they replied until they get it back to me, and then they just never ever responded. And I was like, man, if I'm wrangling like 5 or 6 different creators at once, and I'm offering you guys a chance to, I'm not saying I'm a big creator, right? But these guys are all 50 to 100 viewers that I'm talking to. And it's like, if you're not even willing to just spend the time to go, hey, update, man, I will get that to you. I'm just running a bit behind. I've been busy. Because I'll be like, fuck, that's fine, dude. You take 2 weeks. I'm not in a rush with any of these videos.
Yeah.
But if you take like 3 days to even like respond, you take 2 weeks to even update me and say you're going to record this week, you take all this time, it's like, well, you're not really giving me much, right? Like, I'm not saying like I'm the king or I'm the best or whatever like that. I deserve your time. But in this particular collaboration I'm talking about, I'm offering you 130,000 subscribers are probably going to see this, or not all of them, but like have a chance to see this. If we make it really good, it has a chance to blow up even better. Everyone's going to gain traction. Everyone's going to get attention, right? If you make a really good segment, then you will get followers. And like we've seen it work with people like Reapz, for example. After I release a video, he will get a few people in his chat going, I just watched you in that thing, right? But it's like, it's not worth my time and energy to be chasing these people up when what they offer me is a minute-long clip, when instead I could just upload these videos with myself, Reapz, and EO, who are actually keen to do it. And maybe that sounds harsh.
No,
but
it's totally no. You are absolutely fair in what you're saying. It's like you're in the position where it's like you're not chasing people because you've got other options. If someone's not going to reply to you, then you'll just reach out to someone else that will hopefully reply to you.
I just don't want to have to motivate people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't want to do it, that's totally fine, right? That is totally fine if someone doesn't want to do something. But you know what? I've been as a team leader, I've been a director, I've been a producer, I've worked in fucking offices as a video producer where I have to manage talent and sort it all out. And the one thing I don't want to do as a content creator is have to go back into that managerial role where I have to motivate people to do the work. Because you know what? We're all pretty bloody blessed that we get to make videos and stream and make stupid jokes and asses of ourselves as a job. And if you don't even want to spend a little bit extra time to do a gig because you just you don't want to do it, it doesn't interest you, that's fine, right? But I'm not going to chase you because I'm not the one who wants to motivate you if you say you're interested and then don't do it. You know what I mean?
It's like a share house, you know, when you move into a share house and you know the people that just don't contribute at all, and you're like, they stick out more than the ones that do contribute. Because like, I definitely don't have that vibe from the same person, because in that example, like that you asked me, yo, can you do this? And I'm like, sure. Do you mind if I send it on this day? Let me know if there's any changes you want. I can edit it out. It's also that thing of like, one, free real estate. Two, you've reached out to me as a collaboration. Why would I push back on that? And three, if I do this for you, hopefully in the future, if I need somebody to fill in for a collaboration stream, I can go to you and go, would you be interested? Because we already have that rapport. So to me, it's like, you've got to think of it not just for the short term, but for the long term as well. Look at us now. Like I've met you guys like a year ago, 2 years ago or something, and now we're doing a freaking podcast together, which will hopefully expand all of our portfolios and reaches for collaboration when we get guests on the show and things like that. It's just a simple thing of like, just have respect for other people. Really go into it. Like what's good for you? If you are going to be a lone island, well, enjoy the one raft that comes along every 2 weeks, you know, hopefully they'll come over to you. But if you're like a freaking country and you've got all these different collaborations that you can do, you are going to grow exponentially. It's just like a simple rule. YouTube does any content creation that you watch, YouTube, everything, they all usually blow up because they do a collab with somebody or they're shouted out by somebody who's a bigger streamer, YouTuber than them. And that's it. Like Jacksepticeye, you look at that, blew up because of PewDiePie. You look at Ash on LOL, who got in with, Offline TV. She did Among Us with them and blew up, you know, and now she's doing GTA RP with like thousands of people. It really is the one opportunity. And the more opportunities you push back on, the less opportunities you're going to have in the future, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually funny you mentioned that because Ash was the one I didn't know Ash super well. I met her through one of these big Among Us nights back when, you know, she was like averaging like 100. And then, it was like literally, I think it was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that. And she was like in the thousands. I'm like, what happened? I have no idea. Like, good on her, but I just didn't know what had happened. So
she played Among Us with Offline TV. I don't know how she got that opportunity, and then she blew the fuck up, and now she is set.
Isn't that so interesting though, right? I think it really, really hammers home the concepts of the lottery ticket side of content creation. And this is a little bit off topic, but I kind of like going off topic sometimes. Here's the thing, right? I look at content creation and I say it's not luck based, okay? Because I think, yes, if you're just going to go live and fuck around, do nothing else, okay, maybe that's a bit of luck, right? Maybe. But every step you take to make yourself more discoverable takes you from being a luck-based content creator and saying that content creation as a job is luck-based and starts making it more about probability, which I understand is luck. But also, if you're working hard and making your chances better, then I'll tell you what, I'd hate to be calling those people lucky. And I think that, you know, everyone out there who's uploading a YouTube video every single, you know, week that is discoverable and they're trying to improve it, if they blow up, I'm definitely not going to call them lucky. Even if they get one viral video and it launches their entire career, I'm not going to call them lucky. You know, if Ash on LOL had 100, 200 viewers and then does a collab with these people and blows up, I'm not going to call Ash lucky. I'm going to say that Ash had built a portfolio that was good enough as a content creator to be recommended and to be vouched for to get into one of these lobbies, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of people live these lives and they look at someone like Ash on LoL, or they look at someone else who's blown up in a category like Among Us or any of those things, or in Collabs, and they go, oh yeah, they just got lucky, right place, right time. And it's like, you know what? They had to work to be at the right place and the right time. And if we live our entire lives thinking about everything as purely a luck-based concept, well, then you're in the mindset where there's no point putting all these extra, videos out, putting extra TikToks out, waiting for something to pop off, putting all this time into things. Because you know what? If one person releases one video, they have a lot less probability than someone who's released 300 to actually getting audience members and actually growing. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's I feel like those collabs and people who blow up from it is like a really good example of someone who isn't lucky. They just set themselves up to be in an opportunity that they could show off how talented they were.
But you've also got to think of it like from the perspective of when you do get into those collaboration moments and you do blow up, it can be easily seen as that thing of like you get raided, right? And there's that blow up and there's the eventual come down the next day. People just don't return because it was a hype thing. If you go into that thing and blow up and continue to get those numbers, that shows you're doing something right. It's not just like you could put like 1,000 streamers, give them the exact same opportunity, aka streaming with like, some big corporation on stream, I should say network on stream. I guarantee you not all of them will blow up. Not all of them will maintain those numbers. Things are happening. Again, as I've said, this is the most cliche thing that I have on my phone, but every time I look at it, it makes complete sense to me. And that is the harder you work, the luckier you get. You talk about those lottery tickets out there. If you have so many TikToks and YouTubes and clips and everything out there, you've got more chance of hitting that jackpot of hopefully somebody finding it, going over to your channel, blowing it up, and then hopefully you've got to that state where you're like, finally, I have quotation made it. But maybe I'm wrong there.
Yeah. Well,
No, you go. It's fine.
yeah.
Mine's not important.
It's like, everything we say is important. No, exposure's only half the battle. Like, you could have your face put on a billboard, but if you haven't got the content or the personality, depending on what you're doing, to back it up, that exposure is going to mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
you have to be good at what you're doing. Like an example, I guess, like from a personal experience, like when I was on Grassroots, I got raided by Loserfruit, right? So it's like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. and then, or around midnight, and then I get hit with 1,000 people, right? And then and most people's like, oh, that's amazing, but immediately, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. But again, those are all Fortnite viewers.
I was going to say it's a very different demographic to yours.
Exactly.
Like,
I was streaming Breath of the Wild at the time. So it was completely, completely different. Like everyone would think, like, oh,
has grass. Oh my god, Breath of the Wild, copy Fortnite.
Where's the circle? Is it trinket?
Where's the bus?
We're so assholes. We are a bunch of old boomer.
Look
bastards.
at us. That's why we're never gonna blow up like these youngins these days.
Jesus.
So it's like it shows that if you're not in putting yourself in front of the right demographic, nothing's going to come from it. I had maybe like 5 viewers come back from that raid like the next night or like the next stream. So because they came for Loserfruit to watch her play Fortnite at a high level. Like they're not going to get that with me on my channel. So it was really, really cool to have that happen. And me and my mods, we went back to her stream to watch like how did she find me, and because I was on Grassroots, she saw me on the front page.
Cute.
That was LJ when he found you.
Oh man,
this guy's lovely. Spicy.
Lovely. No, you know what it was? I was reading character dialogue, and I was doing funny voices. I turned my voice changer on, and she's like, "This guy's funny," and then and then picked me to raid, and that's what it was. So do character voices, guys, when you're reading dialogue.
Hot tip.
Yeah,
Reapz probably knows exactly what I'm going to talk about in this sense, because Reapz hosted the Twitch ANZ Pummel Party tournament,
Yes.
which was a really, really fun event that I somehow managed to squeak my way into as a fresh partner, alongside people like Chiblee from New Zealand, who's an amazing content creator. He'll never listen to this, so I can fawn over him as much as I want.
Yeah.
And Loserfruit as well. And AI Candy was a few others, and there were a few people in there. But the people who really stood out to me were Chiblee, Loserfruit, and AI Candy, because honestly, the rest of them didn't really talk too much. They kind of just stayed on mute and spoke to their chat. I think that's a fair statement. I'm not insulting them or anything. No. But like Loserfruit, myself, and Chiblee and Candy, we really got that bants going, which I'm going to throw it out there. I watched Loserfruit's stream back, and she was very early on super pessimistic because she felt like that she didn't know anyone, and she thought she was going to have more people in the Pummel Party that she knew, and she was really like, this is probably going to suck. I'll stay muted most of this, right? And she was really hesitant, and you could tell she was a bit like, is this going to be good for my audience, blah, blah, blah. And then like 30, 45 minutes in, she starts talking about how I've started this banter with Chiblee and like joining in on that banter and stuff like that, because I came with, what you guys don't know, a little notepad full of icebreakers to my collab.
Okay.
I came with a little thing of icebreakers.
Behind the curtain here.
Yeah. And so about halfway through the first game, I started realizing that no one else was really going to try and get the kind of grease the wheels. They were just kind of doing classic stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, if no one's going to do it, I'll do it. I'll step up, right? Step up to the streets, Pummel Party edition, right?
Yeah.
And so I decided, I started dropping some icebreakers like, all right, what pizza do you order, guys? And then shitting on people's orders, or like laughing about it, or like, Hawaiian, you know, or like, what drink do you bring? What chip do you bring to a party? Like relatable stuff that gets you going, right? Mm-hmm. It gets people like warming up and stuff like that. By the time we were in the middle, the break between the two games we were doing, it was me, it was Chiblee, Loserfruit, and like AI Candy, and we were just in there just talking absolute smack about each other's food combinations, and it was really funny and entertaining. I don't think the break was live streamed other than on our channels, on the main one.
Yeah.
And then we come back from the break, and if you watch the first Pummel Party versus the second Pummel Party match, holy shit, the second match is so much better. Because that first match, people are very, what am I doing? I don't want to talk over anyone. I'm going to mute and talk to my chat, do this. And then the second one, it's like Loserfruit, it's me, it's Chib and Candy, and we're just talking absolute smack to each other.
Yeah.
Right? And that was one of the big things I learned early on. If you're going into a collab and you don't know many people, a lot of the time streamers, as much as they seem like extroverts, they're introverted. They're the guy in the corner at the party, and they're like, they don't know I stream. You know, you know what I mean? And so you got to bring that, right? And so when I did Phasmo with you, Reapz, if you recall, we were doing that first mission, and we were having conversations about like, I was like, Reapz, what is your go-to bakery item?
Yeah.
You know, like, what do you go if you go to the bakery and you're like, I got to get one of these. And I'm like, I get one of these. And you're like, oh yeah, well, Fetta's pretty good. It's the best cheese. And then sparks like a massive conversation about the best type of cheese. Yeah. And it leads to some really funny moments about that. I said Parmesan sucks. Instantly, the ghost hunts us. Yeah. Right? And so I'm panicking, screaming, Parmesan's good. I'm sorry, I take it back. Twitch ANZ clips that and they share it on their Twitter. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's because you just get that little bit of grease those wheels in those collabs, get that conversation going. Yeah. Because all streamers, as extroverted as they can be, they're kind of scared little kids at the same time as well, sitting in their offices.
Definitely.
And I don't know, that's a big thing I always do for collabs now. And I always try bring something to the table that'll grease the wheels. Yeah. Like with the podcast, I had the games, the LJ's hot take, or the LJ's hours. How can you guess the hours and stuff like that? Games are always fun. Do you guys have rules or like ideas that you try and bring to every collab that you feel like helps the collab become successful?
Nick, do you want to field this one first?
Ooh. Yeah. That's a really good question. I think you have to, if you're gonna do a collab right, like if it's majority of the ones I've done has just been like, it's a bunch of friends, we're doing Among Us, you want to join, cool, you get on, you play, whatever. But I think if you're like you're going in with the intention of doing a proper collab where you want to create good content together. Yeah. And everyone's on that you've got to make sure everyone's on that same page. And I think, especially if there's a bunch of people that you don't know, like, because you don't want to have like the friends club and then everyone else that just is like,
yeah. You bring up a really good point. Really good point there.
So I think you really have to either like LJ's mentioned, like when reaching out to collabs, like having a meeting beforehand to just kind of warm up, get to know each other. But going cold straight into like the content can, sure. I mean, a lot of people would just go cold into the collab, but
sometimes you get a choice as well.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't get the choice. But other times, I think if you have the opportunity, even just over chat, like even just like chatting in a group, like you create a group chat and just kind of, you know, so you organize like the times and you outline sort of the rules like for the collab and whatever. And then just in the meantime, just kind of put, just a general friendly message, try and get people talking and just, I guess, making sure everyone has that understanding of like, there's some people that aren't, you know, they aren't super close with everyone else. So let's try and get everyone involved. And some of the Among Us nights have been good because myself and a few others have kind of kept that in mind, and things will be happening and we'll try and rope someone in who's maybe a little bit quiet, being like trying to, you know, bring attention to them. Not in a negative way, but like in a fun way, you know, for something like that. Be like, someone has been really quiet and be like, so-and-so, like, I feel safe with you or something like that. And try and help them get them involved or just be cheeky with them as well. It's like, I don't trust you, or something like that. So I think
that's really nice. So you're basically like an olive branch out there to people, because it can be very intimidating going into what you said, Nick. If there's a clique of people who always play with each other and you're the new person in there, I would feel so daunted. Like, I don't know, like, am I supposed to talk now? Am I not? What do you want? What do you want from me? Like, what's going to make you not hate me, or, you know, your community hate me? So when you see those Among Us streams and you're in there, it's like, how do you do this? And I think to have a barrier like that, you know, if you have a discussion with the people beforehand, or they can look at a previous stream and go, oh, this is the vibe that they go for. They tease the fuck out of each other and anything goes, that type of thing. It's always nice to know where the line is and how you can kind of interpret it and make it your own. But maybe that's just me. Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you on that one, because especially Pog Chumps. If we talk about Pog Chumps that you hosted, Reapz, you hosted that with Fit for Purpose, I'm Fall from Grace, myself, and Jens.
Yeah.
And going into that, I think maybe those three knew each other, but I didn't know any of them, right? I only knew you, Reapz. But I knew how I was going to handle that. And that's the same way I handle absolutely anything when I'm in a new group of people. I'm just going to pick one person. I'm going to become best friends with them, right? That's all I do. That's what I do. And I start a little bromance and I just make it, right? If they're not going to extend the branch to me, not because they're bad people or anything, you know what I mean? Just people just don't think. Then I'm just gonna force it upon them, right? And so it's so easy to do. You just pick one person who you've already made a little bit of bands with early on. And you're like, yeah, it's me and you, me and you.
That's it.
And that was being Fit for Purpose. we had ship names by the end of the 45-minute quiz happening for me and Fit for Purpose. Yeah. Grace and I had a little bit of like a rivalry going on, because at the very start she donated $20 for the charity event, and I did, and while she was still being introduced, I donated $21, and you're like, wait, 21? And I just said, yep, that's one more than Grace. And then and then Jens drops 22.
Yeah.
You son of a gun. But like, that's what I mean, right? Like, it's like you kind of build, you got to in collabs, especially if you're going in blind, you got to kind of build your own opportunities, I think. And I think people who are really quite shy, it's a real kind thing to do to bring them in. And if you are a shy person, you really do also have to try push yourself to be more out there in collabs. Maybe not intensely talking over someone, but you should try and make an impression and try connect with one other person or one other individual, because you're there to do it, right? You're there to do it. And if you're there for a collab, remember, you're supposed to be collabing. So, and if the people you're collabing with don't like that you're collabing, maybe you haven't got the right demographics connected, or maybe you're not on the same page, and that's totally fair. But don't be afraid to put yourself out there, because you've been invited for a reason, right? Like,
facts. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, most people will like you said, they start off shy, and it takes that one, the initiator, the instigator, if you will, to really get things going. And then like you said, like all those people are fantastic. And once that vibe was kind of set, they're like, oh yeah, now I can bring some of myself in. I feel comfortable now. I think it's very much a comfort thing as well. Like, people want to make sure they feel comfortable to really put themselves in, and almost, I think, you know, everyone's got their really strong personalities. So you're it's almost a game of like, how much of myself do I bring in here without like making a fool of myself or, you know, going too far? Because you want to get a feel for people before before you go crazy. And sometimes you get pleasantly surprised where someone will come swinging back and you're like, I didn't know you were like that. Now I can match that, you know.
Got that rapport going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like and with the pog jumps that I was on, we had Jordan Rasco, Electric Mermaid, and Ultra Tay, and I had no idea who Mermaid and Tay were. I obviously knew Jordan, right? Because I think you said you wanted to have. Everyone wanted to know at least one person on there. So Jordan and I knew each other, then Mermaid and Tay knew each other, and then by the end of it, we had so much fun because I loved the way you did it, where you matched Jordan and I first with like the group games,
marriage game,
and then you mixed the groups up, and I think that was fantastic. Like everyone got a chance to be with one of the other people. And that was great, and we became so comfortable with each other. We all had like similar vibes and content, and that pog jumps was fantastic.
I really have fun doing pog jumps because it is the thing of like it feels like you're the host of a party, right? And when you bring along all these people and you see them vibing together, you're like, yeah, I was kind of responsible for that in a way, you know? Like, I know these personality types and I think they're going to get on well. Hence, I put them together. So it was so much fun. I got to do more of them. It's just, as we talked about with collaboration, we haven't really delved into, but it is a lot of work in times of scheduling and making sure that the game is right for everybody and everybody has the game. And how long each person has to spare to do the stream. It really is. It's nice to think of in principle. It's like, yeah, you just ask somebody and they say yes and you do it. But more often than not, it's like, oh yeah, I don't really like that game. Like I had somebody contact me and go, I'm thinking of doing a collab stream and we're going to play this game. And I didn't like that game at all. And it was that thing of like, do I want to go into a collab with a game that I don't like? And I think
ask the game?
Gartic Phone. I'm not a big fan of Pictionary games. Yeah, I don't really like Pictionary games. It's not for me. And so I said, I would love to collab with you. It's just that I don't think I'd be a good, person to vibe with during this game because it's just not for me. I don't find it very fun myself. And they were like, yeah, completely cool. We'll let you know of, future things that, aren't that. I'm like, thank you so much. But we've talked about saying yes, but what would make you say no? What would make you go,
dude? I've got this instantly. Okay. And this is super on point. 3 days ago, posted to our Twitch, is chat annoying or am I out of touch? Which is an amazing post. Did you read it as well, Reapz?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I'm not going to go through, I'll summarize a little bit. Content creator goes to about 100, 150, 200, whatever it is, viewership. Has a nice little community, probably similar to ours. They match our niche. They all like each other. They have a nice active chat to a degree, and it's going quite well. Of course, when you get to that stage, that means you have options to collaborate with larger people. This content creator who had that says, yes, he would like to collaborate with these people. He does some collabs, gets a big boost in viewership, followers, and a lot of new chatters. Now, with these new chatters, some things start to change. And we've talked about before, when you grow and things change, sometimes your regulars leave. I'll just skim over it really quick because I pulled it up. The new audience is a much younger audience than what the person currently has, which is a massive, massive issue, right? If your key demographic is, decently mature or 20 to 30 or whatever it is, and they don't want to constantly be doing poop jokes or spamming, then you probably are going to be very careful about collaborating with people whose community is that. No harm or assault towards people whose community is that, but it doesn't match what your current audience is, and you probably will push your regulars away. One of the reasons why I ban pretty much anyone who's spamming or is clearly underage. Because my chatters will just be like, can you please shut the fuck up? Yeah. And I agree. It's annoying when you're trying to have a conversation. So anyway, a few of the things that apparently they started backseating a lot. They started throwing tantrums a lot if the content creator didn't do things a certain way. So for example, that he didn't have TTS on, or they didn't have TTS on, text to speech, and the new viewers wanted text to speech to be turned on, and now they use it pretty much consistently to spam, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
Apparently, they trauma dump a lot, despite mods and other people saying, please stop trauma dumping, which, if you don't know what trauma dumping is, it's coming into a streamer and then unloading a whole bunch of information about all the terrible things that have happened that would really throw off the vibe or make the streamer uncomfortable. Yeah. Overstepping boundaries. Apparently, they DM the streamer a lot and constantly spam things like answer my DM and stuff like that.
Oh, goodness.
And then there's all a bunch of other stuff. But the real kicker for me was the other night, the community that was the regulars, and then obviously had the new people come in, raided. They raided into another mid-sized streamer. And apparently the other mid-sized streamer, they didn't say it, but their chat said, "Oh God, not them. Well, they're here. Time to call it a night. Bye, guys." And a few other statements like that were said in the chat, which I understand, you know, if someone's raiding you, be kind. But also at the same time, if someone is raiding you, I think every single person here can agree, if that raid audience does not understand your vibe or the content doesn't match, sometimes a raid can be awful. Like sometimes I'll get a raid from someone who's like a 25, 30 viewer streamer, and they are an edgy person. They'll say, they'll make a lot of really bad jokes, and they'll come into my chat and their chat will start saying things like, "Oh, bitch," or "ho," or, you know, "Oh yeah, this streamer's an asshole," or not me. Like they're talking about their own streamer because they think it's all funny jokes. And I have to say things like, "Hey man, we actually try to keep it a little bit less intense than that." Or I had someone raid once who instantly started making like really sexual jokes. And I said, "Hey man, we don't really do that here. I'd really appreciate it if you just eased up a bit." And they kept going. And I was like, "Man, I'm being honest, guys. There are 3 or 4 of you from this raid now that are doing this. I don't know about you, but I've tried to be kind. And I'm pretty sure if I raided someone, I'd be pretty embarrassed if my chat was acting like this." And the streamer said, "Guys, please listen to him. He's a good streamer. He's a good creator. You're embarrassing me." And I was trying to be super polite about it. So to answer your question of, is there anything that would instantly turn me off for a collaboration? Yeah. If our audiences didn't match up and didn't mesh, or I didn't want your type of audience in my chat, I would be saying no instantly. And I'd be very polite about it. But man, it just does not work. You will screw your entire thing if you bring the wrong audience in. I will caveat this post, by the way. This isn't the new audience's fault, and it isn't the regular's fault. This is entirely the responsibility of the streamer. And pretty much everything in this post, this streamer could have stamped out, but chose to want the more viewership. That is a fact of this. You don't have to turn TTS on. You can ban people, time people out for trauma dumping properly. You can time people out, ban people for backseating properly. And you can set hard boundaries and say, "No, I don't do that. Stop asking. If you ask again, I'll time out ban." The tools are there. But if you don't use them because you want more viewers, then it is your own responsibility, by the way. So how do you guys feel? What do you think about that? Is that like, where is he at with this? What do you think about the idea of mixing audiences? I'd love to know.
Yeah, with that post, because I read it too, Nick, I think you should give it a read as well, because there's some interesting replies as well. But this was also from the perspective of a friend of the streamer who wrote this, who was asked to be a moderator. And I think moderation is such a key component in your community, because if you have amazing moderators, like I believe I do, like I'm sure each of you believe you do, you know that they have a good grasp of what should be prohibited and what should be not censored, but kind of curbed when people come in. So when people come in and they follow the channel and you see the moderators go, "Hey, welcome on in. Thank you so much for following the channel." Like, I know that I'd feel great about that, being a spectator and coming in, following and feeling like, "Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you," type of thing. But when people come in and they follow and then they just spam stuff and the moderators don't do anything, you've got to think to yourself, what do you say? What do you say?
I said, "Among Us, sus." That's what it is. It's always fucking Among Us.
It is. I get that all the time, dude. Like AMOGUS, and I'm like, I think I had a personal experience a few days ago. There was somebody who just couldn't stop typing Among Us in my chat. And immediately I can now profile you and go, "You must be 13 years of age." You know what I mean? Like, because if that's what random humor is to you, by typing the same thing over and over again, being told not to, and then being timed out and then continue to do it, that's an immediate ban. And you're right about like the trauma dumping and everything like that, because I know the more that I go into streaming, the more that I want to be an inclusive environment, which I think I always have. But sometimes I think I've been too inclusive to everyone. So when people do trauma dump, I did respond to them and go, "Hopefully you can seek this, you know, yada, yada, yada." Not giving advice in terms of you should do this, but I really feel I'm sorry about this, yada, yada. But I gave time to it. And I don't want to seem like a douchebag. I mean, I am, but I've now gone away from when people do the trauma dumps to just, one, ignore it, or just go to I understand that, but please maybe think of a different time to talk about it. Just being a bit more forthright with it, because it's hard to do, because it may make you seem like an insensitive bastard, but you really do have to curb exactly where the community is when people new come in, because then they just follow what the trend is in your chat at the time, and they can't be blamed for that.
Yeah, it is. Trauma dumping's the thing that I personally struggle with the most, because I don't want to come off that way, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you and a lot of people there know that, it's not the time and place. And I've told my mods, and sometimes I have to remind them that, like, if someone does that, just whisper, like whisper them, let them know that, it's not the time and place, and that to go to the Discord. And usually I would give it very, very short attention and say, hey, I'm sorry that that's happening. Hey, feel free to come in the Discord. We've got a place in the channel where you can talk about that. And then I kind of move on, and I just kind of, jump across, and that's it. I've gotten good at, like, sort of, if someone does that and, there's attention being brought to it, then I just kind of respond to it, and then I just try to keep on going. But yeah, look, no matter what you do, it's going to just kind of ruin your flow. And again, we're not trying to be dicks, but we're also trying to put on, put an entertaining cast and create good content for everyone. And, no one wants to have this complete downer of a stream. And it's a very delicate balancing act. I think it's just about conditioning people, where if they do it, then kind of just, being like, look, come to Discord. Or in times in the past, I have just privately messaged the person being like, hey, look, it's not that I don't, that I don't care. It's just that I think the stream isn't the right place to sort of bring this stuff up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's a bit of a gray area where they kind of talk about how down they are, and then it's like, but your streams have been amazing. So it's like they end on that positive note. It's like, oh, well, I'm glad that we've been able to help. So it's really,
you are a very kind person, Nick. I'm gonna say that right now. You're a very kind person if that's everything you do. Because I will tell you right now, I am old, I am gray now, I am salty, and I cannot spend the time on every single person. And I know that sounds terrible, but man, I have had every fucking thing. I've had people come back the next day and say, hi, is this Eljayem? I've stumbled upon my daughter's laptop and she's now dead. I thought I should let you know because this is the last browser that was up. I've had people be like, I'm gonna go commit and all the sorts of shit, right? And I've had every single thing, and my mods and I have tried to deal with it kindly. We've tried to deal with trauma dumping by messaging. I have a rule, by the way, since day one. I refuse to direct message or private PM with a single viewer. I will never do it unless you are a moderator or a community herald, which is someone I have as like a between point for moderators and the community. I will not private DM with you. And the reason for that isn't because I'm sus or weird. It's purely because there is a boundary there that I am not your emotional support group. Yep. I'm not your sponge, and I'm certainly not your friend. You're paying me money to be entertained. Treat me like a TV show. And I've had every single thing, and I'm too old for it now, and I'm too tired for it now. So I just say to people, I am not a trained professional. Mm-hmm. I cannot help you with that situation that's going right now. If you do !health though, you'll find a whole article and resource with websites and phone numbers for every single country on this planet. And you will be able to get professional help. If that is something that is seriously worrying you right now, I strongly suggest getting professional help. And if I don't, I only do that if my mods don't see it or don't catch it, right? Yep. And I will never let them push it to the Discord. Yeah. Because the Discord is also supposed to be a positive place. I understand people make singular channels for trauma dumping, but those singular channels in every single Discord I've been in, I'm not in yours, Nick, but in the ones that I have been in, I think they are incredibly toxic places, and they get used more than most channels. They get, like, when you have a channel like that, that channel tends to be a place where people gravitate to, and it encourages that overly intensely personal sharing of deep depressive topics in public. And I think that's how it also leaks back into Twitch streams, because people feel it is okay in the community, and you can say, oh, just go back to the channel, and like, yeah, but we were talking about it there, and it's on point, it's on topic. And I know that I'm going to come across a massive asshole. No. I know I am. People are going to think it is, but I've had too many things get said in my chat that are completely fucked up. And I have a huge issue in my community which I've never talked about. And if you're in my community, please don't take this as a negative, but I have a huge issue in my community that it is such a demographic melting pot in the sense that Stream Scheme is streamers. Now, the streamer demographic is diverse. There are people from every age group, in every game category, in every mental space, in every race, in everything. There are people from everywhere, which means when they come to my channel, they don't always bring the same values and the same ideals as someone who finds me live on Twitch in a certain category. Yep. And they don't bring the same ideals as if they found me for doing content that is comedy on YouTube. They are coming with the ideals of, I wanted to learn to be a streamer and I'm coming over here and I'm bringing my ideals of what I think a streamer is. So I'm bringing my ideals of how I act in a Summit 1G or how I act in a Soda Poppin' or an Edgelord or, you know, a cozy or a trauma dump comfy place or something like that, right? And that I have to be so careful with that stuff because all it takes is one person coming in from an edgy community and my chat is going to go dead quiet because someone made a fucked up joke and we have to try and recover from a fucked up joke being said and throwing the vibe off. And my biggest issue I come across is the fact that I, as a creator, have to work so much harder to make sure that the culture that I create reflects who I am. Yeah. Because otherwise I get memes and posts about suicide is jokes, or I get it's slightly like I'm losing the word, slightly sexist jokes. And I'll say to people, I'll be like, we don't do that here. Like we don't do that here. And they go, oh, it's fine. It's just a joke. And I'm like, it's not fine. I don't want you to make a joke about how female streamers are stealing your views. Like, we don't do that. So you guys are probably much kinder in this situation than I am, but I've seen too many streams be ruined by new edgy chatters who don't understand the vibe, and I can't keep doing it because it just throws me off, and I don't enjoy streaming, and I know my community don't because I get anonymous mod mails from community members being like, hey, LJ, I know it's anonymous, but it's me, your founder who's been here for 21 months. Just throwing it out there. Those 3 new chatters that have been here this week, I know they're not breaking rules, but fuck, man, they're really making a few people uncomfortable.
Yeah. It came to a head for me in terms of that, because when I did start off, I was very much open to, hearing people's problems and saying, this, that, and the other. Not advice per se, but just kind of like, here's some positive reinforcement. Hopefully things get better for you. But the more that I go on, the more that I feel like that is definitely not a good thing. And I don't do it anymore, because it came to a head when I think it was just so obvious and it really annoyed me. But there was a user who came in and was like, hey, really loving your stream. Just wanted to let you know that I've got 6 months to live and you're really making it better for me in the last 6 months. That type of thing. And here's the thing, because it's like, 1, you're saying the truth and holy crap, how can I respond to that? And 2, you were doing this for attention. Those are the only 2 options that I have at the moment. So I said, obviously I'm going to take the side of caution. I go, listen, dude, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm glad that I could entertain you. And I moved on. Right. From now on, when I get any type of trauma dumping at all, I basically say, listen, if this is what you're going through, I am a distraction. I am not a cure. And then there's the command that you talked about, LJ, that my moderators say, if you could need help, please do not bring it to the chat, because obviously I'm not a trained professional. Any advice I give you will probably be detrimental in any sense of the word. So please go and do it.
Giving it time is detrimental to yourself as well. Like you now think about that. You think about that person who's like, I have 6 months to live, and you keep that in your head every time you see them, and these things are there every time. Every time someone trauma dumps for me, I'm like, every time I see them from that point on, I go, oh fuck, I got to be really careful not to say this or not to do that, or maybe I shouldn't ask them how their day's going, or maybe I shouldn't do X, Y, Z, because I do this thing where I'm like, hey, how's your day going, to every person who comes in. It's like, you're gonna come in, and I'm like, fuck, dude, like 2 months ago, you told me that you were going through some very serious abuse, and I now have to sit here and go, how's your day going? And then hope that your day is better. But most of the time they come back with same old, still haven't gotten out of this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's like, it's like, where do I go with this?
You can't. And
I know I'm going to come across as an asshole, by the way. I'm being way too harsh, but still, I
think it's right, because the funny thing also was this person who said that you've got 6 months to live. Guess who came back and said, oh, they cured my cancer. I'm fine now.
And you're like, hard. If it's true, awesome. But it's also like, man,
To me, like, obviously, I'm going to sound like the arsehole here, but to me, that was definitely a method of just getting my attention and people feeling sorry for you, so that you are, the main point of the broadcast. And it is this thing of like, because the original topic of this was your community going into another person's collaboration, their community rather, being a stream, and then having that as your representatives, because your community are your representatives. If people come into your chat and they're doing this trauma dumping, they're doing all this, like sexist jokes, racist jokes, that reflects on you, the streamer. And my moderators know that. They've told me this. It's like, you've got to be more harsh on this person, this person, this person. And I've tried to do that because, in real life, I just like, I like being kind to people. But I know that being kind is also a virtue or a signal to them to keep going. Yeah. And, it's something I'm always improving on, and I'm trying to be better with it. But collaborations do play a part in terms of your community and how you're going to be viewed by other people and why they may not want to collaborate with you.
Yeah. I'm fine with so much stuff. I hope people understand that I think all of us here are coming across in the sense that there is just certain things that no matter what the streamer is, shouldn't be encouraged. Yep. And also, for the streamer's sake, I got to throw it out there, as someone who sees a lot of small streamers go very parasocial, which is a whole different podcast topic, but they go very parasocial and they get way too close to their viewers. And at the end of the day, it's incredibly toxic for themselves, because at a certain point, those 20, 30 viewers you've got, yeah, they're your viewers, but man, if they're also practically your friends giving you money at a certain point, the way that people treat it.
Yep.
I saw another post from someone being like, oh, I do these streams, I do all this stuff. I grew to this really quickly and I want to give you advice about how I did it. And one of the pieces of advice they gave was, I do these therapy streams where we just sit and just chatting and we talk and they tell me all their problems and I give them some advice about how I think they should deal with it. And every single reply on that thread was, you are an idiot. You are not a trained professional. If you're specifically calling them therapy streams, by the way, you're breaking the law because you're not a trained therapist.
Yeah.
Like, you're encouraging people to not seek help and instead to use your stream as a crutch, which means you're promoting unhealthy coping habits in order to allow yourself to grow, aka the entire concept of why parasocialism is bad is because you are promoting unhealthy attachment so that you can benefit in viewership and monetary wise, right? And I know I could sit there and I could be super lovey-dovey and kind and spend all my time on these people and do all this stuff and be parasocial, but I think I'd feel kind of sick.
Yep.
It's just, I'm coming in with a hot ass fucking take right now, but I think I would feel kind of sick. And it's why would my viewers say stuff to me? Viewers will be like, oh, LJ, it's really fun hanging out with you. And I'm like, well, we're not really hanging out right now.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm glad you like the stream and the content, but we're not really hanging out right now. Right now, I'm kind of like consider me like a pantomime or a stand-up show.
Yeah.
If you're seeking to hang out with someone, maybe you should go see if you can jump on a Discord call with some mates, or join the Discord and try to become friends with some of the people in there, because then you can hang out with them. But I'll be honest, guys, I'm not. Yep. I'm not in that position, I can't do that to you. And someone will sub and be like, or someone will do like a donation message and it's like super, super, super like attached or something like that. And I could go, oh, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we're doing great. How's your wife? How's your kids? How's your dog? How's everything? But instead I go, oh, well, man, I appreciate the biddies, but I am just a distraction. And please don't feel like you have to donate. I'll read that message either way. And I hope you got the love. I hope you're happy.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like people, they get stuck in the sauce and they realize that the kinder they are and the more emotive they are and the better friends they are with every viewer, they will grow better when they're small. And I think that is one of the real dangers of parasocial people don't talk about. Big streamers, sure. People are obsessed with it and they're in the parasocial sauce, but you know what? Small streamers, it's way more detrimental to a viewer's health and mindset.
I am very guilty of, I guess I want to say like unknowingly leaning into the parasocial stuff. I think a lot of people will lean into it, not really realizing the effects of the greater effects of it. And so I am totally guilty of doing a lot of that, and in a lot of instances encouraging that in a sense. So, and ever since we started talking about it, I think it was like a week or so ago, then that's like when it first started to pop up, like that kind of got me thinking, where I need to really think about what I'm allowing in the chat and what I'm not, and what sort of behaviors as well. And so it's definitely got me thinking of like trying to try and make that shift and kind of resetting everything that's going on. So definitely guilty of it. And it's definitely when I think back to like you've said some things that honestly I'm ashamed that I've never really truly kind of had that perspective of like, like these things are gonna be issues and it's gonna affect new people coming in. And when you think about growth and, you know, how many people are coming into the stream and you want them to stick around, like you need to make sure the vibe is constantly good. So
really good point. Yeah.
I think one of the things, Nick, is, and you shouldn't feel bad about falling into those things. I think one of the big things to remember in situations like this, as content creators, if you make this mistake, no one's calling you a terrible person. No one's insulting you. Maybe it sounded like I was. I got a little heated.
I wasn't insulted.
No. I'm talking to everyone, though. Someone would have been. Anyway, but essentially, all I want to say on that topic is that people don't come into content creation with the idea of becoming a career content creator. They don't come into streaming with the idea of creating a career of streaming. At the end of the day, they come into it because they enjoy entertaining, they enjoy connecting with people, and they enjoy making someone's day by creating content. And that means it is easy to fall into these issues. And I will say one of the reasons why I feel like I've never really fallen into those issues is at the end of the day, I kind of came into this with the mindset of, nah, fuck that. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to at least set this up so I can do this every single day for my life. And this is my job. I'm going to push that route. And because of that, I was aware of the issues that parasocial stuff can have and those kinds of things. I still make mistakes, but I think that when you go into it with a mindset of, you know, you just love creating, you like connecting with people, you like making people laugh, it's easier to fall into it than someone who's like a bit of a weirdo like me, who's like, okay, this is my job. This is my job. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do everything I can. So I don't know, but on the topic of good vibes and what you said about growth and making sure the vibes are there and making sure the right stuff is there, especially for connecting with other people and raids and stuff like that. Something I've been doing recently that I fucking love, and I stole this from one of my moderators, Cheeseman, and a mate of his, Meagle, another streamer, is now when someone drops by, even if they're a regular who's coming back or drops in or whatever like that, or if like 3 people follow, I'll be like, hey, chat, can we get a peepo hey? Can we get a peepo hey for all those people? And I've only started this week. I used to do it all the time, but I'm getting back into it and it's so good, right? Like 3 people will follow or someone will drop by and be like, hey, LJ, how you been? Sorry, I'm late. And I'll be like, you're not late. Hey, chat, can we get a peepo hey for these people? Yeah. And there's like a wall of 20 like, and it is so good. And the idea is, right, is that when I used to get raids, I get a lot of small raids, which I love, I appreciate. Anyone who ever complains about getting small raids, you're an idiot. If you got 100 viewers, you got a 5-person raid, congrats on your 5% increase, don't be a dick. But I get a lot of small raids and a lot of them feel embarrassed by how small the messaging is. Like how small the raid message is. So what I've started doing is I've started saying, hey, welcome in, man. You know, I respond to everyone the same way. Welcome in. Thank you so much. What were you playing? Let me know. Hey, chat, can we have some hype for the raiders? Give them some love. And they'll all my chat will type exclamation mark vibes and the bot will spit back a bunch of like dancing emotes and all sorts of stuff like that, right? And then the raiders are like, oh, thank you so much for like welcoming me in. Hello, everybody. You know, like it makes people feel so much more instantly a part of it because my chat's celebrating them. And I only had to do that for about 2 weeks. And now my chat automatically does that as the culture to vibes new raiders, right? And to welcome raiders in. And if I keep doing this, say, hey, peepo, hey to these people, you know, for the next 2-3 weeks, naturally those viewers will start doing it instinctively as well. You know what I mean? And that's like such a big part of the culture growth. And I know we've talked about a lot of negative stuff, but I feel like before we start wrapping down the podcast and stuff like that, don't want to go too long. We've already been told we go too long.
We go too long, man.
Not making fun of the person who said that, by the way. We just think it's funny. Let's have it this. Let's give some actionable, kind feedback that we think we can put in place that is healthy for creating a good environment with your chatters, such as telling people to say, hey, welcome these people in with a peepo hey emote or a wave emote or something like that, or welcoming raiders in with a vibes. Reapz, what do you think is the best way that you have created a good community culture in your stream?
Moderators. If you want to create an amazing community, you choose the people that reflect your values. You choose the ones who are active. You choose the ones that welcome people in because they are literally the spokespeople for your channel and community. Get good moderators. They will make everything better. I can vouch for that till the day I'm in my deathbed because they honestly make, and there's those days that you feel down about yourself and those moderators are the ones that pick you up. These are the people who most of the time do it for free. They're the ones who are always there timing people out, putting in commands, changing the title of the stream for you if you forgot to change a category. They are amazing. So get good moderators because they are the ones that all the viewers, I find, look up to, and they go, oh, if I want to be a moderator, I've got to be like them. And they're positive and they're active and they're social and they're just a good person all around. So get good moderators.
Pet the mods. I love the mods.
Pet the mods.
Yeah. I would honestly say I guess you need to think about how you want your chat to be and just follow that. Like, I think the more you're lenient, the more things will go out of control.
Yeah.
And that's coming from me. So I think you need to really be strict on what you're going to allow and what is not okay. And also making sure your mods understand where the lines are.
Yeah.
And making sure that they don't cross those barriers because like people look to the mods as examples. Like they are examples of your community culture. So what if they see the mods doing something that's a little bit wavy outside the line, people are going to think that's okay. So you need to make sure that you have a strict boundary for what is okay and what isn't, and making sure that you also follow that and making sure they are as well.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Yeah.
Eljay?
I love it. I think the things I already mentioned, and then my final one will be that I think you need to create a reason for every single person in that chat to want to clip. I talked about this last week. Maybe that podcast is our filler one, so I'll say it again. I created the contest. I said, hey guys, this month, if you clip something and post it in the Discord, then you will instantly go in the draw to win the best clip competition. And what you win from that is I will read out any message you want, do an acting bit, whatever it is. I could read out WAP, I could read out the song lyrics, Rickroll people, whatever you want, I will do it. You will win it. The way you win it is by, as I said, clipping, posting in the Discord, and then my 5 moderators will each pick a clip that they like best from that month. And then we will have a competition to see which moderator picked the best clip and who clipped the best one. That person wins. Okay. And I think that's been really, really powerful for me because I got like 50, 60 clips, like, you know, in 2 streams on a lot of the time. And then the other thing is people are really excited for the prize. They're really excited for the community aspect of it. And now they're all asking mods like, hey, what do you find funny? What do you find funny? Or being like, or like if I ever compliment a mod, if I compliment a mod, I get like 20 clips of the compliment and people being like, this is how I win. You know? I think it's a good community building,
your
right?
mods? What the hell is wrong with you? What is this?
I've got some really good moderators because they're all such busy people. They can't always be there. So they can't do like the Peepo Haze, like what you've got with like your team. But I'm trying to make it so the community by themselves will do that. But my moderators are all incredibly talented in their own like special way, you know, in their own like logic. For example, I've got a moderator, Lauren, who I really trust her opinions on community, people, positivity, stuff like that. Cheeseman is like pretty much my head mod unofficially, but sort of officially. He helps me pick every other moderator we bring on. He pretty much knows exactly what I'm trying to go for. He'll bring up issues, let me know if things are going right or wrong. And he's just generally like a good bouncing board as a content creator. Benjamin is another one of my moderators, and he's just so smart. He's so analytical. He's very careful about these things. He's very got a good head on his shoulders. And I'll usually go to him when I'm trying to kind of get an idea about, you know, am I not seeing a pitfall that I should see, right? Like he usually catches the pitfalls that I will not catch. And that's awesome. I love that. And then I've got another mod, Midi, who I think is really ingrained in my overall community because my community has a small network of small streamers. So like there's 5 or 6 streamers, all 0 to 20, and they're all really good mates and they're all in my community, but they're all kind of their own separate thing. And Midi is so connected through all of these people that I feel like she has really good ideas when it comes to my content with the community. And also a lot of the time, she's just a really good influence on the positivity of it. And when she came on as a mod, she applied and said, hey, I know what you're kind of after. I know sometimes people go too far, and I really want to be there to try help you, LJ, to understand what the culture should be so these people don't go too far. And I was like, instantly, you're brought on. Wait, no, I got to ask Cheese first. And then Cheese is like, I'll allow it.
Cheese, I hope you're listening to this. You've got a lot of power over LJ. Use it wisely.
He does. He has so much power over me, honestly. Like I've been super open about this to him and others. The people are like, how do you get mod? How do you pick your mods, LJ? And I'll always be the same thing. I'll say, my mods, how do I pick them? Well, I usually just open applications and pass them all on to Cheese. because like I just trust him to the nth degree. Yeah. Like I trust him, I trust Benj, I trust Lauren, and I trust Mitty, and I think they're all incredibly talented and smart people with a good head on their shoulders. And by having them in the community to bounce ideas off of, to hear from, it just makes me so much more comfortable. In fact, I wish I used up more of their time, but I'm so hesitant to use their time up, you know, like just because I just really respect their opinion. Yeah. And so I think it's 100%, your mods are so crucial. Yeah. Mods, getting good memes and culture in your life, in your stream of being like, hey, wave to the people, vibes the people in, take clips and share them around. All that stuff is crucial.
We love you, mods. Yeah. I was going to say, regarding collaboration, just to finish off, and then I thought we could just do a little bit at the very end about some recent news that's happening in the content creation world, if you guys have time for that, very briefly.
Love it. Yeah.
But in terms of collaboration, as you can see, as I said before, I've collaborated with Eljayem and Nick, and we've created this podcast. Last week, when we finished our podcast, we talked for about 2 hours after we stopped recording, which could have been a podcast in itself. And I just think it goes to show that when you do collaborate with people and it's right, you create these bonds and these things, because I know that I cannot wait for the day, whenever this is, who knows if this will ever be a possibility, but when cons open, because we only really know each other in the digital space. We've never met in person. I never met my, viewers in person. And I think we'll go more into Parasocial maybe next week for the Valentine's Day, but who knows what we'll do. But it's going to be very interesting to see, we know each other through here. We know each other through this digital typing thing. But meeting you guys, I'm so excited to meet you both in real life, because I can't wait. There's a different vibe when it comes to meeting people in actuality and what you present on camera. So creating those collaborations, we've talked about mainly digital, online, emails, things like that. But you can also collaborate with people through cons that you meet who may have the same ideas. You know, there's VidCons and things like that. So try and find like-minded people in those places as well once, the world opens up again. We haven't really talked about it, because the past 2 years have been a just black hole of, I feel like I'm living the 1 year over and over again, Groundhog Year. But yeah, really look for those opportunities in real life as well, which is a good thing. But last but not least, the news. So these are the two pieces of news that I thought we should talk about. One is Fwiz leaving YouTube gaming, going on to, I think, a crypto site or something. And two, Pokemon, I'm thinking of Arceus or Arceus, however you want to pronounce it. Pokemon today saying that her contract with Twitch has expired. I will have more news on February 8th, which is the day after this pod has dropped. Now, I think that Pokemon is going to sign back up with Twitch, but she wants a week vacation, that type of thing. What are your thoughts? Let's start with Fwiz leaving YouTube gaming. He was the head of YouTube gaming. He was the one that was trying to institute everything, signed the big people, Tim, Dr. Disrespect, Ludwig over.
I'm going to do a hot take.
Here we go. I'm going to insert the music right now.
I am so tired of people in this space trying to act like there are individuals in the space that have to have that have to lead everyone, when they don't realize that an individual means fucking nothing in the grand scheme of the YouTube. Like, people act like Ludwig moving, he was going to create a culture. There were 5 videos from giant creators being like, Ludwig's the one who can build a streaming culture on YouTube. And then Ludwig makes a video and goes, I don't want to do that. I just came here to make videos and make good content. Which is 100% true. And also, Ludwig's a great content creator, but he's not building a YouTube culture. You can't build a YouTube culture. It's too diverse, right? It's wishful thinking. And then the other issue is people are sitting there going and you boys have, so I'm calling you out a little bit on this one. Everyone's sitting there saying shit like, Fwiz is so switched on. He's so switched on. He's working hard. He's doing these things. He's on top of it. He's the reason why this is going to be successful. All this stuff like that. And you know what? I agree that Fwiz was pretty switched on. I 100%. I think he was a smart guy. I think he was active in the community space. And I think he was working pretty damn hard. But I will also add, if you are putting all of your hopes on one individual, even if they're the head or at the time, then you are not thinking enough about the fact that YouTube does not give a flying fuck about any individual creator unless they've just made them sign a multi-million-dollar contract. All right? The only reason YouTube is pushing features right now is entirely because they want to compete with Twitch. And the only reason why they're unbanning and saving people, or giving giving Valkyrae and giving Ludwig all this support and helping Tim the Tapman and helping on Dr. Lupo and all these people out, and why they're so connected, is because they need them right now. They desperately need them to stay on the platform right now. And all these people are acting like Twitch doesn't care. Twitch doesn't do that. It's like, yeah, Twitch doesn't need them. Twitch has the monopoly right now. They're winning. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. Everyone knows I don't think that. But I'll tell you what, everyone was so intense about how Fwiz was the big guy that was going to lead it through. And Ludwig's the guy who's going to do the culture. And I just am like, yeah, you've put all your hopes on one person and now they're leaving. We don't know who's going to take over the fact. But I'll tell you what, YouTube did just announce they're bringing NFTs to the platform. Yep. YouTube just announced that they are focusing short form content because it got 5 trillion views. YouTube still hasn't set a date for gifted memberships.
Yep.
YouTube Discovery is still entirely based around making YouTube videos. You can't, I don't know if you boys have checked it. If you go and try and look at a YouTube stream, you want to go find a category of Dead by Daylight and you want to watch Dead by Daylight streamers, you go down to the bottom left, you don't click on live, you click on gaming. You don't click on any of the videos there. You have to go up to the top, click live inside the gaming tab. Then you have to click all categories, find Dead by Daylight, which by the way, they don't have any like scaling from top to bottom or filters. You just have to hope that the algorithm understands what you're looking for. Yeah. Or, you know, you can search for it, but the search doesn't bring up streams, it brings up people, and the live button on search is hidden pretty much. Yeah. So, and then finally, if you find Dead by Daylight, you click it. And the best part is it just shows you more Dead by Daylight videos. So you have to then click Dead by Daylight Live. Yeah. And then when you get into Dead by Daylight Live, guess what they show you? Fucking whatever. They don't have any filters. They don't have highest to lowest filters. The only filter they have is we'll show you worldwide or we'll show you your region. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but when I click worldwide, I get a lot of speaking languages that I can't understand. And that's no insult to these people, but I can't understand them, so I can't click them. Yeah. Okay. When I click my region, I entirely get Asian languages, which again, not an insult, but the entire system is so broken right now for discovery. And the culture isn't people going to YouTube for streams. They're going there for a video. And I'm not saying YouTube Discovery isn't good, because YouTube Discovery for videos is fantastic. Yep. But YouTube will not recommend you a 0 to 20 viewer or even a massive streamer unless you are already subscribed to them. I watch every Ludwig video on the Stream Scheme channel. So like I'll be on the Stream Scheme channel logged in and I'll watch every Ludwig video, but I'm not subscribed to him because I'm already subscribed to him on my other channel. And it's just one of those things that we share the Stream Scheme channel with another person who also helps with analytics. Yep. And so, you know, I don't want them getting spammed every time he goes live. But I'll tell you what, if I'm logged into the Stream Scheme channel working or watching something and he goes live, I don't get told shit. He won't appear on my homepage, nothing. Because you have to be subscribed. Yep. And it's like, I just don't understand why people put so much pressure on the idea of Fwiz and Ludwig and these individuals being the people who are going to change this entire platform, when at the end of the day, YouTube is a massive corporation who does not give a shit about anything other than winning and making money. Look at the dislike button, look at the YouTube recaps, look at fucking how they treat copyright strikes. Like Linus Tech Tips and Marcus Brownlee sat down with YouTube to talk about the dislike button. And you know what they said? Nah, we're proud of this. We're doubling down. Yeah. So I know I'm getting heated here, but this is such an interesting conversation to me. And I think people are just, they have this idea that they want Twitch to fail because it's so popular to hate on Twitch at the moment. Yeah. And educators have made so much content criticizing Twitch. And so everyone is so excited for it. And they want, this is it. This is what's going to change everything. And it's like, yeah, well, you know what? Good luck. I hope it comes out good. But at the end of the day, I am not as hopeful as these people. And I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. No. I'll diversify across six platforms before I put everything on a single channel.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think it was like a couple months ago, I was like, I can't remember why I did this, but I went to YouTube to just find a live stream just to see what the experience was like. And it was like, it took a while for me to figure out how to actually get to the live streams. I had to actually Google how to find YouTube live streams because I couldn't figure it out. And then the exact same problem you had, LJ, where there's the so it only showed me like a thin bar of videos. It was like 5 live streams, then you have to click like the next little page to go to the next bar. But yeah, all of them are just like in a different language. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, yeah, not insult to those streamers, but like I'm trying to look for an English speaking stream. And yeah, majority of them were not English speaking and just couldn't recommend me those ones. So I was like, well, what am I going to do? So it is not the greatest experience unless you're already subscribed. I think I guess that's what's like YouTube wants to create, they said they want to create better discovery for live streams. But yeah, it's literally, unless you're already subscribed to the person, like you got to use your videos to then boost your live streams.
I would like to talk
That's fine. Yeah. But also shorts, just quickly before you jump in, Reece, I'm gonna throw it out there. Shorts don't fucking help.
Yeah.
Because shorts only help on the shorts feed. When people watch a short, they don't usually subscribe to a channel. And if they do subscribe, they don't watch your long format content.
Yeah.
They don't watch your medium format content. Like Nazy, an amazing Australian creator, and so many other creators have created shorts to try and boost their medium format content on YouTube to grow it. And they're seeing very little help on their medium to short or to medium to long format content. All they're getting from the shorts is inflated subscriber numbers, inflated view numbers that mean almost nothing because you don't get any revenue from it or returning viewership. And then also the biggest issue is that the shorts viewers are toxic as fuck.
Yes.
Like I've uploaded some shorts as well, and I'll tell you what, the new people who come in are absolute, like they must be young, right? Because they're just so toxic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Fwiz is gone. You're the people who everyone was saying that he was the next savior of YouTube. Well, he's in crypto now, so NFTs.
I was going to say, I'd love to have Nazy on the show, by the way. So Nazy, if you're listening somehow, please come on the show. But very briefly, in terms of live streams on YouTube, you're completely correct there. It is so hard to navigate. The UI experience is absolutely terrible. I went on the other day because I usually watch YouTube sometimes on my TV. So I've got a smart TV, NVIDIA Shield, go along there. It's a lot easier to find on smart TV. I don't know why, but there's actually like in the panel, it says live and it's got the thing, you click on it. But here's the thing that really grinds my gears, as it were. I did a video about this. I think it was my first video ever on my channel, but I go to live and I click on Minecraft, right? And then I look at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 viewers. I'm like, oh, wow, this must be, a big time streamer playing Minecraft. You click on it and it's literally pre-recorded content or skits on repeat.
So that's premieres. Yeah. So they also mix premieres in as the live content. And that's another thing as well. It's the reason why you have to go through like 6 pages to find actual live content.
Yep.
Is because if you go to the live section, they'll show you a bunch of premiere content, which is considered, oh, it's live. It's not. You're just releasing a video and everyone can watch it all at once.
It's like
at the very
6
start.
hours long. So it's always live. And another thing was I went to the Fortnite section. And this, I'm sure it's still going to be the same, but there was a live stream called Fortnite Fashion Show. And I was like, 1,000 people watching this. Let me check in on it. It was literally somebody with pre-recorded content, not the premiere thing. They said they were live, pre-recorded content saying, I'm going to give away this costume if you like, subscribe to my socials, everything like that, right? And then, so you see all these people going, start the fashion show, I want to win. And they're like, okay, just 1 more minute. We just need 1 more subscriber, 1 more follower, 1 more everything like that. Obviously on a goddamn loop. But they're like, okay, let me pick a name at random. Okay, here's a name that you'll never know because you can't see the viewer list and who would even go into the viewer list. Johnny John. Oh, you didn't subscribe to my Instagram. You would have won. I got so angry, I made a whole video about it because I've never been so annoyed. And the thing is, right, that YouTube doesn't stamp down on it. Like it still goes on. I remember reporting it and no word back. This is obviously a scam for kids. They've got hundreds of thousands of subscribers from just putting on pre-recorded content. There is literally no liability. It's not live. It's not everything. So how does that reflect on you when going in there and just seeing, imagine going onto Twitch, clicking on XQC's name and it's just pre-recorded content. Like you go there for a live experience and they just don't give a crap.
Yeah. At least on Twitch, they have a big symbol that says this is a rerun. Like you can't do it otherwise. And I guess you could live stream a video, but I think people would understand very quickly if you live streamed a video up there so it doesn't say rerun, I think your audience would instantly be like, yeah, all right, so we're just watching TV. Well, we're not going to engage or chat. We know it's TV because he's not responding to anyone. I don't know. I just feel like to essentially get back on track, because I feel like I derailed us a little bit. No. To get us back on track, I think a lot of people see individuals and they put far too much stake, far too much weight, and far too much responsibility on those individuals. And they forget the fact that these individuals are single cogs in a machine, right? And YouTube gaming, YouTube Live is so different to the actual YouTube space, but also they're under the main YouTube space and they're not gonna be able to run any big UI changes, anything like that, if in any way it looks like it could hurt the way that videos are produced, because videos are the major product at the end of the day. And that is what YouTube will always focus on. And if YouTube Live, YouTube Gaming come around and go, guys, okay, so people really dislike our UI and how we stand out. We'd love to maybe recommend a few more things. And people always love to quote this stat, by the way. They love to quote this stat and say things like, hey, well, on YouTube, live stream recommendations is up by X number percent in the last few months. And I'm like, yeah, but what people don't clarify, and please, if you're listening to this, leave a comment and clarify this for me because I have not been able to find this. What they don't clarify is, are these large established content creators moving over with large YouTube channels, or are they large YouTube channels deciding to live stream and the recommendations that they're talking about in those stats are to their already pre-built subscribers? Because if they are, and they're not explaining those stats properly, then that is incredibly deceptive marketing about how this algorithm works. Because if you're sitting there going, oh, wow, okay, so in the last month, there's been a 200% or whatever increase in recommendations of live content on the homepage. Brilliant. That's good to know. It means they're working. That means this platform is getting better at recommending streamers. When the reality is that stat could very well be, hey, there's been a 200% increase because Dr. Lupo, Tim the Tapman, Ambiguous Amphibian started streaming as well. And now we've got this person here, and we've got this, and we've got that. And did you know Spiffing Brit does streams every month? We're going to recommend this to all of their millions of subs. And then we're going to tell you that we have a 200% increase in live stream recommendations.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. I'm glad you're doing that. But that is a very disingenuous stat to be sharing. And please, honestly, I want to be proven wrong on this. I want to know they're doing more for discovery. I cannot find it anywhere. I just see them talking about bloody gifted memberships, which is great, but that's monetization that they get a cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand why they're pushing that. And everyone loves to give Twitch flack when Twitch will fix a monetization issue instantly, but take weeks to add a new feature. I'll tell you what, everyone's not giving them flack for the fact they've not fixed any of their problems and they're instead focusing on gifted memberships.
You're right. You're dead right. And here's the thing is like, I think for me, when it comes to Fwiz, it was nice to know that there's a spokesperson. I know that an individual person in the scheme of things within the cog, it's very hard to change anything. We've all worked in companies. We know it's just falling on deaf ears most of the time. But it's nice to know that he did respond to messages, which a lot of spokespeople do not do in their, if they're high up like that. So that's why I liked Fwiz. Now, it could have all just been,
100%.
Lip service, don't get me wrong, but it was nice to know that there was an outreach and they're like, okay, we hear your concerns. We understand. Hopefully something's on the way soon. Again, could have just been, nothing's going on and they just say it, but it was nice to know. So that's why it was like, who's going to take over Fwiz now? Are they going to be as interactive? Who knows? But let's move on to something, the last thing of the day, which I think is good.
All right.
Yeah. No, not at all. Except for that one person who said we go too long. We apologize. Just cut it off an hour beforehand. You could do that individually, right? Yeah. No, actually, listen all the way through engagement rate. Pokemon said today on Twitter, my Twitch contract has expired. I'll see you all on February 8th with an announcement. Now, do we think that Pokemon is, I believe, there's a bit of a teaser there, like what's going to happen with me? Am I going to move over to YouTube, Facebook, that type of thing? For me, I think it's like, I want a week vacation. I can, really boost the viewers by making them come back to find out what I say on February 8th. I think that Pokemon will be staying at Twitch. As she said, I think only a few months ago that YouTube isn't where I want it to be for me to stream if I was to go over there. Or will she just simply go, you know what? I'm not going to sign to any company, not YouTube, not Facebook, not Twitch. I'm going to multi-stream wherever the hell I want. I've made enough money. I may as well just try on different platforms. What difference does it make to me?
I feel like I ranted a lot. I'm happy to say my opinion for the end.
That's honestly, the idea of her not continuing her contract and just deciding I'm going to multi-stream everywhere is interesting. However, I'm putting my money on that she bought Trovo Live and she's going to stream exclusively there.
Trovo. She changed the name as well.
She bought it outright. She bought it. That's it. I genuinely think I think it's hard. Like, she knows the position she has on Twitch. And maybe she probably has the same annoyances that we have expressed as well. Like, I wouldn't be with how annoying it was to find a stream that we've experienced. Like, it's the same with everyone else. So unless YouTube has offered her a large enough sum of money,
who knows? Who knows? LJ, you've got to rant now. You got to do it.
Okay, 3 things about Pokey. She wants lifestyle. She just says she doesn't want to make millions of dollars without having the lifestyle, which is why she only streams 70-ish hours every single month. If YouTube is willing to do more money for those 70 hours, I think that's a big plus for her. Second, she's been very outspoken about the fact that people who say that YouTube cares are forgetting the fact that they only have 6-7 big streamers right now. So it's easy for them to care about each of those individuals. And she's also been very outspoken about the fact that the major side of YouTube, when it comes to videos and things like that, they don't give a shit about content creators. They simply care about making money, hence dislikes, recaps, and the rampant copyright strike abuse that happens, right? She's been very outspoken about the downsides of those things. If she does move to YouTube, I wouldn't judge her, but I feel like it would be very unlikely because of what she has said. I feel like this week off is still, it means to me that she's still negotiating the contract, and they've given her a deadline, or she's given them a deadline of when she wants it sorted by. Because at the same time, right now, Valkyrae, who I believe is also OTV, or is she just friend of OTV?
I think she's OTV. I think she is.
Yeah, I think so.
Either way, she's in that circle. Right now, she's also renegotiating her contract with YouTube. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Valkyrae made a change personally. She likes YouTube. I think she really likes YouTube because she gets a lot of support there. She has a big channel. But I think also she got picked up when she was so small that I think she might have really large hourly requirements. I'm not sure entirely. But I wouldn't be surprised if she decided to make a move to, like, you know, Facebook gaming for a big bag of cash, right? Pokey though, I don't know. I feel like she's staying on Twitch. If she does move to YouTube, it's because they said, yeah, you don't have to do many hours, and yeah, you just take a big chunk of bag of cash, right? Because I think she values her lifestyle more than anything. She's been very outspoken about a lot of that stuff. But also, I don't know shit.
Just a shot in the dark. I mean, when you're someone, when you're that large, like, it makes sense to value your lifestyle, and that, you know, you want to maintain for, like, your own mental health and your own sort of general health, really. Like, you don't want to, she doesn't want to put, like, all these insane hours in when she doesn't need to. She just straight up, she doesn't need to. She's already doing very, very well for herself.
Pokemon, I think, is going to stay. So my final thing, she's going to stay at Twitch. She's going to stay. She's going to do usual 70 hours, if that, if not retire. But I don't see her moving.
Yeah. Well, she did 100 hours in the last month, but I think that's a bigger month for her. I'll have to go through and check it all. In the last month, it was 100 hours. She did 70, you know, back in November, whatever it was. And I think this was a bigger month for her because of all the Gideon drama.
I think.
So she had a lot more attention on her, which meant she could be live and she get a lot more viewers. So it makes sense to do a little bit more. But either way, that's an hour and 40 minutes, which means we're going to be told we're talking too much.
But we are trying to obviously cut down. But again, we go on tangents and stuff. But any last words before we sign off for the week, boys?
Sorry if I got too heated. I'm very passionate about wanting to make sure the platforms are the absolute best. And I've seen too many small content creators get sucked into these traps of being told that YouTube is the future. And they leave their small audience of 20 to 25 average viewers. They move to YouTube and they try and, you know, switch over the streaming platforms, and none of their viewers come with them. And they try and move back, and they've lost everything, all because they watched one video about how YouTube is the future. And so instead, I try and be very clear to people about the real discovery methods if you're simply a streamer with no other external funnels. So I apologize for my rants. Please don't take it as I hate YouTube or I hate Twitch. I just want good, smart discovery for every creator so they don't end up losing their, you know, hard work, small built community they've put time into.
And the drive.
I would hate that.
Yeah, and the drive that they have, because you can easily fizzle out quickly.
So I hope I don't come across too harsh. I'm just very passionate about making sure creators get the right treatment and get the right information. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But don't do it in an ass way. I like to have conversations.
Yeah, discussions are good.
Exactly.
Not yelling.
Please don't bully me.
So let's collab next week and talk more about it on our special Valentine's Day podcast. What are we going to be talking about? Will there be a game? Who knows? Tune in next week to find out. And if you have stayed this long, what should you write in the comments? What's a word that we know that people have stayed this long to write in the comments?
LJ, how dare you say that?
Okay, it's got to be those exact way. LJ, comma, how dare you say that?
That's what he said throughout.
that's yes. Well, you know, true.
That's how we know they stayed to the end. They could have just said that.
Or we could say, leave us. So, like, if there's topics that, or, you know, that you want us to talk about, if there's questions you want us to answer, or if there's a fun little game that you guys want us to play on the little Valentine's special, that maybe we can put us three, you know, against each other and see who knows each other better. Maybe we'll see how it goes. If you have any ideas, let us know down below. And but make sure to like and subscribe to the video, and so that you can help us out. And if you really enjoy what we're doing,
tell your friends.
Yeah.
Tell your friends who
Love
are
it.
content creators. All right. Have a good one, everybody. We're about to log off. We're dropping frames. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I fell off. Based, not ratio. L.